Hey guys, so to say the last 3 or 4 days have been a test. It's been a bit of an understatement. I thought I was prepared to go to the hospice on Saturday, but it did kind of like gave me a reality check. It wasn't until I went there and sort of looked around and stuff that sort of thought, shit, this is really real. This is like, this shit's happening. And kind of like freaked me out a little bit. But like I've always said, I'm going to live on my terms. I ain't going to let this disease dictate, control, and point me on a journey that I refuse to go on. But saying that, the hospice staff were really good. They told me about all the support that's available, the workshops that they do, and the psychological aspect of it. People don't realise that, for me, yeah, it's difficult, don't get me wrong, but in a weird kind of way, I've come to accept what I've been given. And, I'm a kind of person that I'm a doer. And I'm not one to dwell on stuff. And I want to just get on with it, and they said my time's limited, 3 to 5 years if I'm lucky. I'm going to beat that. Mark my words. I'll make 10 years. I will get to 60. I am so determined to get to 60. However, going back to the psychological support, it's not really for me. Eventually, maybe one day, but at the moment, the people that surround me, my wife and my daughters and my parents, maybe, they're the ones that will need the support when the time comes, not me. It sounds a bit selfish, but I can't change what is. I can't change the trajectory of where I'm going, but I can damn well live my life under my terms, and I can enjoy, I can laugh, I can have fun. I can, the people that know me know that I've got one warped sense of humour, and I like to laugh. I'm quite philosophical. I love writing. I find it better than to talk about my feelings, but I just thought today a little bit different, and I thought I'd just express how I felt, really. I mean, it was a bit surreal going into that hospice. There's no two ways about it. St. Peter's Hospice, the staff are absolutely amazing. They are amazing. They're really caring, supportive. And it doesn't feel clinical. There's not that clinical feel about the place. It doesn't smell like a hospital, and obviously that's the whole point of the place, and I can't thank them enough for helping me. And obviously on that day, things cropped up that I never saw coming, and things like that, like do not resuscitate kind of like stuff they that you have to fill in and things, and to be honest, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for any of that sort of stuff, but at least I'm on their books, and I can go there every week for support or coffee or cake or whatever, and so I know if I'm ever struggling, I can go there. But I think lots of you know, especially you PF warriors, I love my countryside. I love the fresh air, and as we all know, with pulmonary fibrosis, a lot of us sufferers will already know about the hand fan. If you've got a fan blowing into your face, it triggers a nerve that settles the anxiety associated with breathlessness. And the same when I'm out in the countryside, that cool breeze against my face. I cannot put into words how relaxing that feels for me. My oxygen saturations are usually around 87, 88 at the moment. But I've adapted to that. And I don't feel too bad on it. Obviously, I'm sat here now, so I haven't got my oxygen on, which I'm trying to make sure I don't rely upon it all the time. I know there's no common medical proof, but in my head, if you rely on something too much, you can't live without it. And I don't want to rely too much on the oxygen. I use it when I have to. I need it when I'm walking and when I'm exerting myself. Absolutely, I know that. But if I don't need it, I won't use it. It's as simple as that. Life every day is an achievement. Every day is, hey, I've woken up. Spend with my family, see my friends, have fun, have laughs. Life is short anyway. I mean, drop the doom and gloom. Yeah. I mean, life can be shit. Don't get me wrong. I know that more than anything. But life can also be incredibly good if you want it. If you look for happiness, if you look for the fun things, if you look for the happiest things, and you look for the things that bring joy to your life, then that in itself will lighten up your day. Like, for me, if I went and looked for all the doom and gloom aspects of this disease, and I sort of sat down and thought about all the things, it would put me into a right state. I've been in places where, in my mind, where I wouldn't put my worst enemy. There are times that I take myself out to the countryside and I'm sat out there having a cup of tea, and all of a sudden, I'll cry. I'm not too proud to say that, and sometimes after I cried and I'm trying to make sense of all the chaos that surrounds me, I actually feel better for it. I'm not a worrier, I'm a planner, and sometimes I kind of like, I could easily go down that road where it's why me, life's unfair. But think of it like this: if you hold on to that negativity, it's like a ball and chain attached to your ankle. It's just dragging you back. How can you move forward and make the most of the life you have if you're dragging along negativity? All the bitterness, resentment, the grief. I mean, yeah, that's the first part of accepting you have a life-limiting disease. But then get over that. I know it sounds easier said than done, and I completely get that, and not everyone can. But for me, it was, I need to get over this, Dave. I need to move on. I need to make the most of my life and make every day a day worth living. That is my saying. I want to live a life worth living, and that is the most important thing we all must do. I know we'll get some days which are shit, and you sort of just want to bloody headbutt the wall, and you think, Jesus Christ. But then you'll always have a small blip. I call them blips. But then out of those blips, you'll always come out the other side feeling a little bit like better, because I'm a firm believer in, you've got to express how you feel. If you bottle it up, you're just like a pressure cooker, and eventually you're just going to go boom. And that's when you get unwell, and mentally and physically. I mean, let go of your emotions, express yourself. Don't be proud to say to your loved one or to your friends how you feel, And sometimes I love a hug, and I think the best medicine in the world sometimes is no words. It's just a hug and a look that says, do you know what? I'm here if you need me. And that's it. It's a simple thing, So if you know anyone who's struggling, sometimes just a hug or a tap on a hand on the shoulder, and just that look to say, no words, but hey, I'm here if you need me. Whatever you say will only stay with me. So anyway, guys, You know, take care. You know, life is for living. And yeah, you know, sometimes we get given shit cards and we're dealt shit cards. But hey, it's how you make it. It's how you get on with every day. And you sort of say to, for me, pulmonary fibrosis, you know, sod you. You ain't determining what time I have left and how I enjoy it. You know, I've always been a one to adapt, overcome and conquer. So whatever obstacle comes, I'll adapt and I'll overcome that obstacle and I will achieve my goal. Even if it means me doing it slightly differently so I can go around the obstacle and not over it. You know, obstacles are not just to go over it or through it, you can just go around it. And that's how I see life. You know, like I say, I use my e-scooter. There are my legs. I use that as my legs to get to places where ordinarily I can't get to because I get too out of breath. I use my drone because that's my eyes. That gets me beautiful views that ordinarily I could never get to because of my breathlessness. You know, and I there's always ways to get around an obstacle with pulmonary fibrosis. You just got to look deep enough and want it deep enough to actually achieve it. So please, guys, you know, stay strong, and don't forget, it's not a form of weakness to reach out and talk. Do you know what I mean? A lot of us blokes, we think, oh no, we can't say, we can't do this, can't do that. I'm not going to express myself. You don't have to express yourself to your wives or your partners, you know, you don't. You know, just find a friend. Just find a friend and have a chat, get it off your chest. Or like me, I go to the countryside or I go to these lovely places and I just make sense of the chaos. I sit down, I have my cup of tea or my coffee and my little packed lunch. And I'm looking across the countryside or the Dorset countryside. And sometimes I cry. More often than not, I cry. But it's just like that release valve. It makes you feel better. It really does, guys. So please take care of yourselves. And yeah. And I'll speak to you all soon. Big love, guys.